Hello and welcome back to Welcome to Sunland. I am one of your illustrious hosts, Jamin Devon Brown from Sunland News.
And I am your other illustrious hostess, Robin Cartwright from Martin County Press.
And I am excited to be here. How are you feeling?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I am somewhat tired, but mostly confused and a bit worried about the future.
It has been a busy news week.
It's been busy. It's been a lot going on.
Yeah.
I've had a lot happen in the Sunland universe. All good things, though.
Yeah.
But I think that anytime it's things, whether it's good or bad, I think ultimately the body is like, what is happening? Like, slow down.
You got to sleep. You got to eat well. You got to rest.
There's
you got to
so much going
recuperate.
on.
You got to recover.
100%.
Absolutely.
And the news cycle is literally all over the place.
Yeah.
I remember just a few days ago, I was getting gas at one price. Now, last night, I'm driving and across the street is 20 cents less than the one that is across from it.
Right.
I don't know what's happening in the world.
Know.
It's ridiculous. It's a lot going on, but we're here to figure it out. We can focus on what we can focus on.
Absolutely.
And that's local. And like we said, there's so much happening, especially your neck of the woods, which I'm somewhat excited to talk about. I'm also like,
I feel like it's becoming an episode of The View instead of it being like, welcome to Sunland.
Yeah. Instead of the news, we have to go into the details of weird back channel conversations because that's how things are happening.
Yeah. A lot of gaslighting, a lot of propaganda, a lot of PR.
Yeah.
And a lot of empty space that people are filling in.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not just the drama where I live. I feel like even our first topic today has a lot of that as well.
100%. And I won't delay us too much longer. Right before we started convening here today, you sent me something that read, Florida lawmakers watered down data center bill restrictions.
This is the Miami Herald article, right?
This is the Miami Herald article, but I think it comes by way of Tampa Bay Times, which makes sense because Tampa Bay Times, great publication. Yeah. And also, shout out USF, go Bulls. But it seems as though, and this is coming at the same time we're hearing talks of yet another data center potentially coming here to St. Lucie County. TCPalm reported that they got some documents from FPUA that stated that there seems to be another sort of developer coming into the county looking to maybe build a data center here that apparently will, provide its own energy.
Right. Crazy, right? Like, how large does it have to be in order to be able to accommodate that?
Yeah. So, but I think this is interesting because just a couple of weeks ago, I was on my reporter high horse reading that man, it seems like the data centers it might be going away because at the state level, there seems to be a lot of pushback and there's going to be some provisions put in like, hey, we're going to have, we're not going to have this non-disclosure agreement stuff. We're going to know who it is that is coming into our towns with the data center talk.
Who's behind it? Who's part of it?
We're going to
who's supporting it?
We're going to get all of that.
But we are not.
Senate Bill 484 to allow government officials to sign non-disclosure agreements with data center companies. That has been amended. And it seems as though this is sort of a last minute change with the sort of legislation cycle closing.
Right.
This bill that was touted as some sort of, I don't want to say like a savior or something, but it was supposed to provide a certain level of transparency that doesn't seem like it's going to be there anymore.
And yet again, it feels like another attempt to erode home rule.
Yes.
Because now we are removing all protections for communities to know who is behind these efforts.
Yeah.
Right? And so the rest of that sentence about the Senate bill, though, I just want to read this for everybody.
Yeah.
And great reporting in this article, and we'll share the link as part of the description.
Yes.
It said, for weeks, the industry had been pushing back against a prohibition on such agreements, saying confidentiality is an essential part of developing their plans in the early stages. But the Republican sponsors had held firm as lawmakers of both parties agreed that the public had the right to know about high-impact projects in their neighborhoods. And yet, the Senate bill is now changing all of that specific to the non-disclosures. And so I'm not really 100% sure how we operate in a community to know what's happening. And again, we're all going to be like, what the hell just happened? Because by the time we learn about it, it's going to be too late.
Yeah. And then as far as this sort of, I wonder how this bodes with, or I wonder how this meshes with, the cycle is coming, close to an end. And there could be the reason why this is happening is because maybe we're trying to at least get something passed. So we may have to remove some things. But it also begs the question, well, like, why is this happening now?
And at the rate at which it's happening.
Yeah, like very quickly, very, just all at once.
Yeah.
And I don't know, anytime, the tide changes on the conversation like this, I don't hear as much hoopla as I heard when it first got introduced, which is like, we're taking a stance against this. Now it's not that loud.
But again, they're not addressing the things that are important to local communities. They're not addressing water consumption needs of these facilities. They're not addressing the electrical grid impact that it has. Even if it produces its own electricity, there is still an impact to people outside of that.
Yeah.
They're not addressing light pollution. They're not addressing sound pollution. They're not addressing the want of the community. Like if you have to change a land use to be able to accommodate something like a data center, or any project, it's probably not the right project.
Yeah.
If you have to jump through all of these hoops in order to make these accommodations, it is not what is intended to be there.
Yeah.
And so our state needs to take a serious pause at what's happening between all of these pro-developer bills and these, property rights bills and all of these things that are happening. The people who live in these communities, in our communities, we are going to be stuck with whatever is approved. Whether there's a lawsuit that comes in behind it that somebody files against for the legislation passing, we are the ones who are going to have to pay for that figuratively and literally.
Yeah. And I think ultimately to wrap this up, I think that I know there's a lot of people that are probably, pro, things like this coming into the community, which, even if you're pro or against it, I think my issue with stuff like this is just what we're hearing and what we're not hearing. And that's the part that's really confusing. That's why I said at the top of the show, it's just like some of this is just confusing.
But it's the lack of transparency about things also, because it creates an ethical situation. Because now you've got people, if there's no transparency and there are all of these non-disclosures, we don't know what companies have donated to what politicians.
Yeah.
We don't know what PACs have received money from these corporations, from these developers, from these individuals. Like they all have a skin in the game.
And and I guess the argument here is that, while sort of planning and searching for these sites, there might be some sort of proprietary information that that companies may not want out there. I don't know what that could be. I don't know what that looks like.
I've done public records requests and they redact the hell out of some things. So if they truly wanted to protect proprietary information, there's a way to still share information, even if you're not sharing what's in the secret sauce of what's happening. So I appreciate that there probably are some things that they are trying to protect. But the flip side of that is, as residents, we deserve to know. We have a right to know what's happening. And when you take it to the point where somebody is being protected, but we are not, that just seems very misguided and one-sided to me.
Yeah. And same, bringing it back home, the one in St. Lucie County, it's Atlas Compute. They're a Miami-based startup, according to their website. This report comes out of TCPalm. And has for months considered building a data center on vacant industrial land over off of Midway Road. It looks like Midway Industrial Park. But apparently this will sort of absorb its own energy consumption. But the energy being used is, as I quote here, comparable to an entire city. So it's like, I don't even, like, what is that? That's insane. How is that possible?
Yeah. And then what happens when we have a major storm or a hurricane? Do they get priority if things have to be put back online? I mean, again, it goes back to, there are so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And so few answers being provided.
Yeah. Because even with that, the arguments that I've been reading is that the data centers will allow the state more or less to get its act together with its power grid. That way, if hurricanes do come, then because the data centers exist, we've already built up the robustness that's needed.
Why are we not building up the robustness prior to the data center even being here?
That's a great question.
Do we not need electricity otherwise? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think, getting some more transparency around stuff like this and sort of understanding what it is that we're doing. I just had a conversation, and we may take this out or leave it in, I'm not sure, but I just had a conversation about a project that's happening right here in Fort Pierce. And somebody called me and they're like, man, they think this project is this whole other thing that we didn't intend. And I was like, well, did you tell the people that? I mean, what are we doing to communicate the public on the moves in which we're making? Because to us, it's just moves that you're making. We don't understand the nuance of things.
Right.
Unless it's explicitly told to us. There's going to be a few like myself that are going to dig and try to figure out on our own. But a lot of times it does come down to how we're educating our community and what we're doing inside of the community, rather than sort of coming up with a plan and then coming into the community with finished plan, expecting community to just accept finished plan.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
I could be wrong. I'm probably not. So my recommendation for things like this and anything is just take it as serious as you are putting together the plans, the education surrounding those plans.
But I also feel like it is the responsibility of the developer, of the community where you live, whether it's the city of Fort Pierce or the county of St. Lucie or Martin County or the city of Stuart, whatever.
Yeah.
It is their responsibility to not present sunshine and roses when it comes to these plans, right?
Yeah.
Like, so one of the things that,
everything can't always be
oh, it's great.
amazing.
Everything's great.
It's
Everything's great. This is
impossible.
going to have
It's
such
literally
a great
impossible.
economic impact, and we're going to have jobs. And
there's always downsides or upsides.
Right. But it should be an honest conversation. And I feel like a lot of what happens is our development staffs, and whether it's somebody else's direction or on their own, I can't speak to that, present things like, and here's why you should support this, or here's why you shouldn't support this. And then public comment is limited to 3 minutes, but we only have what's available as part of an agenda packet.
Yeah.
So unless things are being provided in full transparency, it is really difficult for the community at large to know what's happening, much less to be educated about it.
100%.
So I really feel like there is an opportunity to kind of, again, it's that thing that we talked about last week where there's that empty space where we all fill in the gaps with our own suppositions.
Yeah.
And it creates the worst case scenario, or it's fine.
Yeah.
But in between is the truth. And so that's where we need to be, is in that in between space of, it's fine in our worst case scenario.
Yeah.
We need to figure out what's really happening with all of these things.
Yeah. And I think it's just always just better to be honest, because like we're bound to find out these things, and we would rather know going in than coming out of it. Speaking of the truth and ethics and gaps in the information.
So many gaps in information.
City of Stuart this week. There's been a lot going on. You've got to bring me up to date. What's happening?
7 square mile little area can have this much drama.
Stuart is kind of small too.
Yeah, I feel like this is like an episode of TMZ / The View / whatever that's about to happen. But here we go.
Bring me up to date with what's going on.
So on February 23rd, one of the commissioners, Campbell Rich, asked for an investigation into some allegations that were made by the former interim city manager, Louis Baglioli, who said that he was asked to do illegal and unethical things. Now, for those who don't remember, I'm going to fill you in real quick. Mr. Baglioli was also staying in a city-owned property that is not approved for anybody to stay in. He was not paying rent. And P.S., by the way, they bought furniture for it. And as the head of finance, he approved that purchase. So the person who's living in a residence that is not approved for residency bought furniture and approved the expense for his own personal benefit. Let's investigate that. Absolutely. We should. Fast forward, Mr. Baglioli gets removed by one of the city commissioners. Commissioner Rich asks for an investigation. Nobody seconds the motion, so it dies on the dais. And then Mr. Baglioli, who lives in Alabama, made a special trip back to make public comment this past Monday to talk about these allegations. I was asked to do this. I was asked to do this. And then this happened. And this happened. Never names any names. TCPalm publishes an article. They had a reporter there, and they had somebody there to take pictures, and it made the front page. And he did not disclose anything new, but boy, was it a splash on the news, right? Because former interim city manager comes back to make these allegations and speaks the truth, but no descriptions. But the question that was asked to me by people was this reported to FDLE? Like, did he make a phone call if it was truly illegal and unethical? Did he report it to the Commission on Ethics? Did he contact our local state attorney? Did he notify anybody at the Stuart Police Department? Did he notify anybody in Human Resources at the city? And from what I understand is no to all of those. So a lot of gaslighting, a lot of propaganda, a lot of sound bites, and absolutely, yet again, no accountability.
And it's interesting because I read the article that you sent to me. Obviously, we've been talking about it on the show. I guess my question or concern is, well, why all of this if we're not going to come to terms with what he's speaking about, and
Right.
if we're not going to understand,
Like who asked you to do something illegal and unethical?
yeah, and names aren't being mentioned.
No,
So
I mean we all have an assumption as to who it is,
okay,
but that doesn't prove anything.
yeah,
And if that person did ask you to do something illegal and or unethical, call it out, file a report, have somebody investigate it. It absolutely needs to be investigated. Nobody should be protected by doing anything illegal and unethical.
yeah,
Absolutely. But the fact that now this is the second article that has been written about these allegations with no substance behind them, it is like an ad hoc PR effort by somebody on behalf of somebody. And here's the most interesting part. And here's where it gets a little TMZ. So sorry for those at home. But the fact that when he got it, so when you get up to make public comment, you're supposed to indicate your address of record.
okay,
Right? So are you a city resident? Are you not a city resident? It's just part of what you do, right? You fill
Gotcha.
out the little card. It has your address. When you get up, my name's Robin Cartwright. I live here.
yeah,
The address that he used, whether it was because he was staying with this person or as a jab to the commission, was the address of the former city manager who was let go in late of 2025.
interesting.
Yeah. Like, why? What's the purpose?
Oh,
You
I
don't
see.
have an address in Stuart. You're not a resident. Then just say, I live in Alabama.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a very intentional use of somebody's address, unnecessary. And again, was it a jab to the commission? Like, this is who I know.
yeah.
It just, the whole thing is just dirty and murky and unfortunate.
In question for you, as somebody who was somewhat privy to this process, I'm not sure how much you can share about this. What do you think it's going to be like with now the new city manager coming in? Because there has been
Right.
a hire that was made.
Yep.
What is now? How do you think that this situation of maybe affects that or not affect that? What do you
Well,
think?
you would hope it wouldn't affect it, but
Yeah.
the timing is very interesting, right? Like, if you really wanted this to be taken seriously, you would file an ethics complaint with the Commission on Ethics. If you wanted this to be taken seriously, you would call FDLE and you would file a report.
Yeah,
You would take actions and steps that were very intentional that would have an outcome. This is just salacious gossip
yeah,
to do this.
yeah,
But the rumor is that it was done to thwart the hiring efforts so that maybe, and I'm not confirming this by any stretch, these are just all rumors, but that it was done to thwart the effort and to sabotage the effort so that maybe different people get hired later, or there's a reason to hire somebody back who's no longer there. And so whether that's true or not is completely irrelevant. It doesn't negate the fact that a city employee stayed in a city building. Now the conversation is no longer about that.
yeah.
There absolutely should be an investigation into that, as there should be an investigation into the comments that he made.
Yeah.
If he truly believes he was asked to do something illegal and unethical, let's investigate it. It absolutely should be investigated. And it's unfortunate that the city commission did not second it, because they should have at least had a discussion around it.
I've got two words for you. They both start with T: transparency and theater. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back and we've got two good things.
Two good things.
Maybe a third possible one. I don't know. But kick us off.
Yep. So this weekend, well, actually Monday night, I went up to the Players Championship kickoff
Okay.
up in Ponte Vedra Beach. I have a friend.
Wait, say that again.
The Players Championship, the golf tournament, Ponte Vedra Beach.
Oh,
It's very fancy.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
but I had a friend who had a ticket and said at the last minute, "Do you want to come up?" And I was like,
Okay.
"Hell yeah, I'm coming up."
Absolutely.
Yeah. So went to a quick the practice round the next day,
Okay.
and then got to see Ludacris
Okay.
kick off the event.
Okay.
That was interesting. I
Very
think some
interesting.
people in Ponte Vedra were a little shocked by that, but
I can
Always a
only
good time.
imagine with a name like that. Let me tell you something. Ludacris on stage. I mean, it can only go one of two ways. Question for you.
yes,
This is a big deal, the golf tournament, right?
it is a big deal.
Okay.
It's considered the fifth major as far as golf goes.
Okay.
I didn't name it that,
Yeah. But
just so everybody's clear.
my one good thing, somebody sent me what might be the greatest email I've ever received. I won't
Ever.
read the whole thing.
Ever.
Yeah, probably ever, to be
Okay.
honest. I think with many of things, when it hits you at the right time, it could be
Yeah.
something you've heard before, but when it comes at the right time, contingent upon what you have going
Right.
on, it can just feel a lot different. But somebody emailed me, they said, "Hey, just got to tell you, this newsletter is one of my favorite things, and the same for my sister. I'm old school and just miss reading a newspaper every day. And since we found you, this certainly fills that void." And he says, "I make sure to tell everyone I think is interested about you and the newsletter. Keep being awesome. And if you're ever in town, drinks on us.
Nice.
Or if we ever see you around town, drinks on us." And he said some other amazing, I think. It's a pretty lengthy
It's
email.
nice. You know what? It's nice to get emails that are affirming that what you're doing is intentional and
Yes,
purposeful and meaningful to
100%.
people. That's so awesome.
100%.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's immediately what I thought of when I read it this morning. I was like, I don't know. If it wasn't for emails like that, I'm not saying I would have stopped,
Yeah.
but it would have been a lot harder when it didn't need to be. But getting emails like that always remind me, I'm like, okay, what we're doing, what I'm doing is useful.
Yeah,
and
a lot of the
bare
emails I
minimum.
get are not like that.
The emails you get are like,
I get a
yeah.
lot of what the bleep, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
how did you find this, and did you also know, and then don't use
Yeah.
my name or publish
Shadow
this information, and
shadow government.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I love that affirmation emails. If anybody wants to send me one, I would love one.
Actually, yeah. Can we make this a call to action? Send Robin an affirmation email. I'm going to send her one anonymously, but out there. I mean,
yeah,
first of all, let me just say what you're doing for the city of Stuart. I think probably the same reason why people are not emailing you affirmation emails. It's unparalleled. It's amazing. It's incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and it
listen,
should be
good, bad, or indifferent. People just need to. This is what I say to people all the time. I am putting information out there.
Yeah.
You can do with it what you need to.
Yeah.
I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not in office. I'm not planning on running for office.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing that I get out of sharing information.
Yeah.
Right? Except for the fact that I want you to be educated and informed, and you're going to vote how you're going to vote for whoever you're going to vote for. I can't control that.
Yeah.
But if you know, like, who's donating to whom, why are these companies donating to this one person? Why are this whole segment of people who are all involved in development and real estate donating to these three candidates?
What's that about?
Why are they all timed on the exact same day? Who coordinated these donations? Like, if you can process that information and make an informed decision, then I've done my job.
That's it.
Regardless of how what you choose to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
But I still want an affirming email. So
I was going to say, I love everything you just said. At the same time, hey, bump that. Send Robin an email. You hear me? Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. We are back and we're here to give you some quick hits. Costco got approved in PSL this week. Did you see that?
I did.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
They did purchase the land, a $6 million agreement, which is nice to
Interestingly,
hear.
because they tried to give land away a few years ago before they went to the city. Right. So they go to Port St. Lucie, they create this whole video that they present, and Costco says, "Oh, thank you, but no thank you."
Yeah.
And instead, the developer in Martin County pays millions of dollars
100%
for the land to develop it down there. What I'm curious to see with this is what happens when two stores open so close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of the draw for Martin County, or the argument for who we will bring into this area, was people from tradition, people from St. Lucie West. And I feel like this is potentially
muddying that up now.
Well, because they're also building a BJ's right by tradition.
Yeah. And then the distribution center's right there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, seems like everybody's going to be coming here, right?
It's a lot of saturation of a lot of big box stores. I mean, I hope they do well, but it's just interesting of all of these big box stores opening up so close to each other. And I realize they kind of serve a different demographic, but at the end of the day, a big box store is a big box store.
Yeah. And I think Costco has a plan to maybe open up 27 across the country this year.
Crazy.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But I read that it anticipated to be completed by August, mid to, later in the year 2027. Mm-hmm. So, I'm interested to your same point to see how they do with each other, because even for folks coming maybe like a little bit south of Stuart, I mean, do they pass Stuart to come to? I don't know. I don't know what happens.
I think it depends
Would
on
they
how
go to
close
West
it is
Palm?
to the highway, truthfully.
Exactly,
because in Stuart, they have to come off of 95 in a bit to be able to get to Canner Highway to access it.
Yeah, whereas this one is, I think it's slightly closer off the highway.
Yeah, most of them traditionally are closer to a highway.
Yeah, so very interesting. I know that's going to be It could be quite the mess. It could be quite amazing.
Yeah.
We shall see. Speaking of quite the mess, just a few weeks ago, we reported about the whole jetty and state of the emergency, potentially the ocean flooding the entire city. Well, I'm happy to report that's not going to happen. They started the $15 million re-nourishment project
Right.
over in Fort Pierce. And I mean, they're going up and down the coast. It's not just Fort Pierce. I think I read something about Vero, part of the beach being closed this week, which that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean,
I hope it works.
I hope it works. I hope it works longer than it did this year. I hope next year we're not back here again.
Right.
We'll be having a different podcast if that's the case.
I would anticipate it's probably going to have to be done every couple of years.
Yeah.
Because at some point, I mean, there's just Mother Nature has a thing she wants to do, and sometimes we can deter it or delay it, but not always. So,
but emphasis on just delay it, not get rid of it. It's
right.
never gonna just go
absolutely.
Away.
Yeah.
Never just going to go away. So that is, I'm interested to see come this time next year or the year after what it looks like. But that's really our show. I mean, I did want to mention that this weekend we did have, it's a Zora Neale Hurston. They're having a huge festival. It's all weekend long. I think tonight they're having a jazz kickoff over at Bluebird Bistro.
Okay.
In Fort Pierce, free. They're playing jazz. It's going to be amazing. I'm sure all the people who organize the event are going to be there. Tomorrow there's a 1920s, 1930s banquet happening at the Riverwalk Center, also in Fort Pierce. And then Saturday, what some may consider the creme de la creme is the festival, where there'll be authors, there'll be music, all free. If you have a family and you're looking to get out, even if you're looking to get out by yourself, learn about the history of Zora, please, please, please make it out there. I went last year and it was amazing.
What's interesting is there is a documentary that ran last year on PBS, and maybe it ran prior. I don't know. I saw it last year. And it's so well done. And her story is absolutely wonderful and tragic.
Yeah.
And encouraging and devastating all at the same time. Like
100%.
She did not have an easy life and had these amazing experiences. And it's sad the way her life ended.
Yeah.
Just how unknown and really just impoverished she was at that point. Like she really had nothing. And the fact that her memory and her story are being told in the way that they are is just really wonderful. Like I remember watching it and just being like, oh my God, I remember reading that book. Oh my God, I didn't know she wrote all these other things. Oh my God. Like the whole documentary, I was just flabbergasted. And then to be reminded that she lived here. Like that is just incredible. Such an amazing history.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I'll close with this. Oftentimes I think that, she's definitely a model for what I hope to do regardless of the circumstance, because to your point, no matter how tough it got, she continued to do the work.
Yeah.
And she didn't know where that work would land. She didn't know that maybe 30, 40, 50 years later, we would be having festivals in honor of her name.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that we kind of keep that mentality, especially like in times like this.
Yeah.
Where, my God, the gas prices, Lord. But I mean, times get hard, but you still have to continue to do the work. And I'll say this, a lot of people don't know. I mean, Zora she's one of my heroes. She's one of those people that I'm thinking of when I'm trying to walk this path. And oftentimes I tell my friends, I'm like, man, I feel like I feel like there's some footsteps ahead that were hers. I'm feeling the same sort of energy.
Yeah.
Just because she made it her mission, Mules and Men, which is one of my favorite books of hers, which is literally just her talking to Black people, specifically around the area of like Orlando and Kissimmee, in Florida. Some of the last sort of, not even descendants, some of the last people in slavery who were alive, getting their stories. Then coming down here to not only be a teacher and a writer, but she also wrote about the county and about Fort Pierce at the Chronicle, which is one of two. And let me slow down when I say this, because let me make sure I get this right. One of two Black newspapers to ever exist in a majority Black town.
Okay.
Zora Neale Hurston wrote at the Chronicle. Jamie Brown started Sunland News. Well, before we get out of here, I just want to say, if you would like to join us on the conversation, whether that just be a question, you can email us at hello@sunlandnews.com. And we would love to, discuss whatever you send us. But if you also want to be a part of the show, we're open to that as well. Same email, just hit us up.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to having a few people on, whether it be in the format of this, or we do, like a sit down interview like we've done before. I'm just interested in talking to more people.
Absolutely.
As you can see with my Florida feud, I'm just trying to get out and about.
Oh, yeah. Before we go, let's talk about the Florida feud.
Uh-oh. What's going on?
I just want to say this week, that kid, kudos. Was that a friend of yours also?
Yes. Shout out Marcus for doing it.
Marcus, good job.
Yeah.
I think you got screwed on your points. I think you need to review your point system.
Yeah.
Because you've really got to nail like all 3, 1, maybe number 2 answers.
You got to get it. And here's what I need to add some weight to it, because what happens, I do try to be very honest to the survey. Every answer that is submitted, I try to just count it like, hey, that's 1 point for that. But what tends to happen, a lot of people have the same answer.
Sure, yeah.
So, it kind of bubbles up to the top. So I do need to give maybe a little boost to the second and third place ones.
Make it like 40 points instead of 50.
You're lobbying for 40.
I'm lobbying for somebody winning.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Because nobody's won.
No, it's only been 2, but
it's like, is this
won.
a game show?
Yeah.
Like, is somebody going to win at this point?
Torrance and Marcus are like the guinea pigs for your point system that may or may not work out.
Yeah.
So,
we're going to figure out the points. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Kudos to you. Yeah. Okay. I will go back in the lab and review with the team.
Right.
And by team, I just mean me and the mirror to figure out if I think. But
I like the questions and I like the interaction, and I do appreciate that you're doing it. I think it, again, like we've talked about, the news doesn't always have to be serious.
No.
And I love the levity that it brings, and
100%.
It's well edited and well put together.
Yeah. No. And shout out to Brian for editing it. Thank you. I mean, just everybody who's involved in it. Even these conversations, they help it out. I might be coming to Stuart soon to do one.
Ooh, let's do one. Yay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick people I don't know.
Okay.
Random people on the street.
Okay.
So this is what I look like in case I stop you.
Yeah.
This is why.
We're about to take this show on the road. Okay. We're coming to a city near you. But anything you want to tell the people just to look out for? I know there's a rally coming up, right?
Just a reminder, there's a rally on March the 21st at 10 a.m. out at the Veterans Association in Indiantown. And it's about the data centers. And it's just to get information. It's not to advocate for or against. It's an educational opportunity so people can learn more about it. And we absolutely encourage everybody to come and get your questions answered, because what happens in one part of the county affects the whole county. This is not an Indiantown problem. As we know, what happens in Port St. Lucie or Fort Pierce affects all of St. Lucie County.
100%.
So we want to make sure that people are informed and educated and get the information they need.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And I thank you so much for saying that. I look forward to happen. I'm going to try to make it out there myself. But I'm just happy that that's going on. Like, we need the information. This is a very pivotal time, especially around topics like this. So, like, anything that we can do, please find a way to make it out there. If not, send a friend. They can get the information as well. And I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. All right. I think that's our show.
Good times.
Good times. Hey, bye.
Bye.
I'll see you next week.